Mike, what's up with the hair? I mean, inner circle.
Well, it all started, I would say, about...
Were you abused as a kid?
That has nothing to do with it.
Oh, I mean, what? No. Go back to the original
I hope
question.
this is not recording.
Yeah.
Well, at the beginning of the school year, freshman year, like I'd say first day of school, is when it all started, because the fascist Miss Harvey, we all know who Miss Harvey is, she's fascist. She had the computer set up on the network, right? And I knew how to use it, and she didn't, and so that was where I was being held. That's why it was held against me, you know? And then later on, I figured out how to get into, I figured out how to get past the Windows security system, which is Fortress 101 version 3, which is like the weakest of the security systems.
True.
And then after that, I was found with a disk with a copy of Fortress that I had copied off of one of her computers. And that wasn't very cool, and they held it against me. And then later on, the three of my friends and I got together and decided to put a newsletter together.
And what were their names at the time?
Well,
Not the real names, you fool.
The pseudonyms for them were the Foo Master, Y2K, and Straight Edge Monkey. But the whole idea of the newsletter started exactly 1 year before, with a friend and I put together a newsletter called Hacks. And in the news, we passed out 3 issues, 1 each week, until he got in trouble for another incident, and I was called into the office about these newsletters I had in my backpack.
Oh, wait, I've heard the lens cap off. No.
And so he called me in and he said, "So what is it with you and bombs?" And I said, "There are no bombs in the newsletter, they're freak boxes." And so he misunderstood that the freak boxes, he thought they were bombs because he was in the bomb squad. And so that cleared up that, but Weston and I decided not to put out any more newsletters that year.
Weston Watson?
Yeah. And then under the pseudonym of Request. And mine was Man 3. And so the following year I decided to just start the project again under the name The Inner Circle. And
Have
so
you had relations with that blinger?
No. And
How come you smile and shift your eyes when that question was asked?
I have no comment. So anyhow, the
Would
three
you
of
like
my
us to
friends
define
and
some of
I, we put together this newsletter, and it was an interesting newsletter because it was some strong opinions expressed in the wrong way to weak-minded people, and the Gestapo of the school intercepted it from our subscribers. We had about 20 subscribers. And they intercepted it and called 3 friends and I into the office. And we had a good old time, and they were talking about it. And instead of being arrested, charged, fines, and expelled, we got 3 work details. And
Who got charged fines, yo?
I said instead of.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa.
And so then for, a few
It's time to
years
go, Mike.
after. Is that the end of the class?
Yeah,
Yes,
same
it
class.
is. Goodbye. Interview
I'll
on
hit stop.
So, Mike, would you like to talk about the Inner Circle incident today?
Sure. It all started about a year beforehand when Weston and I decided to put out a newsletter called Hacks. And this newsletter was pretty much just old school. And so we put it out under the name Request in Man 3, and we put it out for 3 weeks, one each week, until Weston got in trouble for something else. And this big cop, about the size of a wrestler, who worked for the bomb squad, called me in, was concerned about the newsletters he'd found on Weston. And so he called me in and he said, "So what are these bombs?" And I said, "There's no bombs, man. They're freak boxes." So I explained to him, that the instructions in there were for freak boxes, and freak boxes weren't bombs. That they were to, evade the telephone company. So, we took care of that, and then Weston and I decided to lay low, and that was about it.
And that was it.
And that was about it until next year. The following year, when I was in Miss Harvey's web design class, we decided to mess around with the security system called Fortress 1, version 3. And between a few friends and I, we got past it. And I copied it onto disk. And when she found the disk, sent me up to the office. I talked to one of the APs about it and got in a minor trouble for that. But, no big deal until a while later.
So how did you go about starting the magazine project?
Well, what happened was I'd wanted to start up because it'd been just about 1 year since Axe. And it was a new school, and I thought might as well just start the project up again. So I picked the name Inner Circle, which means inside information, although later on the APs would go on to misinterpret it as pentagrams and devil worship and all that kind of stuff. And so we put together, in between me and my 3 friends, under the names Man 3, Straight Edge Monkey, Y2K, and Fu Master, we split up the topics, and we wrote some articles, respectively, between the 4 of us. And we put out the newsletter. We had it ready on the 19th. On the 20th, the night of the 20th, we photocopied it, and we had it ready to pass out, and passed it out on the 21st. Unfortunately, half the country away, some guys decided it would be a smart thing to shoot up their school and Columbine. So everyone was pretty frantic about that. And so we passed out on the 21st, and then on the 22nd, I was in the office. And so the principal, resource officer, they all talked to me about it, and they thought it was real severe. They said, "Don't say anything to your friends, and I go to lunch." So all my friends were in the lunch period, so I went and I said, "Dude, we're in trouble." So then the next week, because that was, a weekend before we were called in, then all our parents were there and everything, and the resource officers, all the APs. It was big, lots of fun. So we all talked about it, and they accused us of, being, extremists and all. And they said that it was organized conspiracy, and that we should be getting arrested for felonies, charged, expelled, yada, yada, yada. But because I didn't want a bad rap for the school, they said, "You be quiet about it, and we'll give you 3 work details." So we ended up off pretty easy. And then about a month later, on the month anniversary of Columbine, another incident happened that I wasn't involved with, but it was kind of a whole nother conspiracy in itself. Everyone was evacuated away from the stadium. We all heard booming noises, and since I've read the teacher manual, teacher handbook, one of the messages on the intercom was there's electrical problems in the school. What that means is something hit the fan. And so severe problems. And they always were saying, "This is not a drill, this is not a drill." Well, we got back to our classrooms and they said, "We're sorry for the inconvenience, this was just a drill." Except outside my classroom, some kids were being interrogated by police. And I think I'll leave it all on that note right there.